stepping in
spectacular,
as well.
over the top. I mean, that was a full force shot to the temple. I mean, he's right now. So they wipe off his gloves, but you look at him like he's really feeling it right now. I mean, he probably has no idea where he is.
Time when I'm going to take your soul, and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter.
It's likely that one big shot's going to land if the guy's not throwing other shots. So I thought with less artillery in the air, less bombs in the air, that the guy would have a chance to get to later round.
Gervonta Davis is reportedly laughing in response to Jake Paul's knockout defeat against Anthony Joshua. Tank pokes fun at Jake's punching style, joking about the wide swings and awkward movement displayed against a top heavyweight. His reaction underscores a noticeable skill difference and explains why taking on a fighter like AJ was always a high-risk move.
Well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists.
Ryan Garcia shared his reaction to the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight on X. Commenting on the matchup, he said, "I think Gervonta would have done him worse," implying that Davis's skill and power would have presented a far greater challenge than Paul, highlighting the perceived gap between the two fighters. The boxing world is buzzing, not just about the outcome of Jake Paul's fight with Joshua, but also due to off-ring controversies. Analyst Fannin recently suggested that Gervonta Davis might pursue a defamation lawsuit against Jake Paul. The claim reportedly arises from Paul allegedly accusing Davis of mistreating a woman, a statement Fannin insists is completely false. According to him, the accusation is baseless, and the situation between the two fighters is now developing into a potential legal dispute.
Fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul, and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct...
Several figures in the boxing community and online reacted strongly to Jake Paul's fight with Anthony Joshua, expressing both respect and surprise. Chris Eubank Jr. posted on X, "Regardless of the result, Jake Paul stepped into the ring with an Olympic gold medalist and former heavyweight world champion and gave it his all until the final bell. You have to respect that. He did what most people would never attempt, and he didn't quit. Well done, Jake." Adding a touch of humor, KSI shares reaction on X, captioning it, "KSI waking up to Jake Paul getting knocked out, laughing at Paul's defeat."
Because straight after the fight, I heard the question being posed to Joshua, will he now fight Fury? And then my first thought was, after what I've seen, who cares? After that, who cares if Joshua fights Fury? I like Anthony Joshua immensely, Spencer. Any exchanges I've had with him, I think he comes across terrifically well. But I fail to see where it's taken us, where it's taken him, other than hugely increasing his bank balance. You know, I really fail to see what this has done.
Well, it's done nothing, but he was going to fight in November, like I said, and he's just gone in there against Jake Paul. What has it done for his legacy? Absolutely zero. But it was, you know, he's earned a lot of money doing that. And he's going to go again, and he's going to fight possibly February, March, and then there's that Tyson Fury fight that's looming that could happen in September, whether Tyson Fury decides to come out of retirement or not come out of retirement. For Anthony Joshua, he's earned a hell of a lot of money. This is prize fighting, and that's what it's all about. And that's what he's done. And
Meanwhile, Chris Mannix voices shock, simply stating, "This is horrifying." Despite his loss, Jake Paul gained respect from several legendary boxers. Former world champion Antonio Tarver commented on YouTube that Paul performed impressively against Anthony Joshua. Tarver noted that Paul lasted all 6 rounds without giving Joshua an easy fight. He pointed out that many fighters would have been knocked out much sooner, but Paul showed resilience and determination throughout. According to Tarver, enduring a fight against an Olympic gold medalist and former heavyweight champion deserves acknowledgement. He added that this performance demonstrates that Jake Paul took his preparation for this challenge seriously. Fans and analysts have remarked that Tarver's praise adds weight to Paul's efforts, showing that even experienced fighters recognize the merit in his performance.
Away would not be surprising.
Paul earning more than Joshua. That apart, Spencer, 6 rounds to get Paul out of there. Reputationally, how does it leave AJ?
Well, thankfully, it didn't go to points because I think that would have been a disaster for Anthony Joshua. I think that he needed to get the job done inside the distance, and he done it. Look, he could have done it at any given point. I think that he could have cut the ring off whenever he wanted to and got Jake Paul out of there. He took his time on that. He allowed Jake Paul to run around like a rabbit and throw the occasional shot from time to time. And I think he only landed 1 clean punch, didn't he, Anthony Joshua? And that was the one that broke his jaw in 2 places.
But, I mean, you said, did you not, to us in this very studio the other day, he's got to get him out of there in round 1.
I did.
Otherwise, what are we seeing?
Exactly that. And I think what we saw there was a little bit of entertainment. And that was pretty much it, but not entertainment that many people enjoyed, if I'm honest. I think that people wanted to see a demo.
Veteran analyst LaBella, an International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, shared a blunt opinion on X before giving a straightforward assessment. He stated, BT, the person who should be ashamed right now is Anthony Joshua. That's his legacy. Paul is a smart businessman. AJ doesn't care about boxing. He argued that Joshua's performance damages his reputation, while praising Paul's savvy, questioning Joshua's overall dedication to the sport. Medical experts also weighed in, with Brian Sutter from Maryland offering insights on Jake Paul's fractured jaw. He detailed the potential consequences of such an injury, including prolonged pain, difficulty eating, and possible complications if not properly treated. Dr. Sutter cautioned that fractures like this need careful management to ensure full recovery, and noted that repeated injuries of this kind could impact Paul's ability to compete at a high level in the future. His analysis provided a medical perspective on the aftermath, reminding fans that boxing injuries are more than dramatic moments. They carry serious health risks.
This is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. I mean, Anthony Joshua is fucking
Here's
terrifying.
the thing that nightmares are made of.
And he's got that one-punch nuclear power. One punch.
Now, Kissa Darian shared her heartfelt reaction to the fight, describing herself as both heartbroken and proud over Jake Paul's brutal knockout defeat against Anthony Joshua. According to Nakissa, Paul delivered his best effort under immense pressure, taking on one of the most elite heavyweights in boxing history. Her response conveys a blend of sadness and admiration, reflecting the feelings of many fans who were disappointed by the loss, but still recognize Paul's courage and commitment.
Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul shared a ring. Your takeaways from the 6 rounds that we saw, presuming you watched?
I was impressed with Jake Paul. I thought that, following on from what we're saying, right? A few years ago, he was on Disney as a kid, acting up, and has decided to become a professional fighter. That takes balls, but he's obviously striving to be as good as he can be. You can see that in the way that he moves, the way that he is developed in how he's punching and performing. But to make a 2-time world heavyweight champion that's still live, AJ's still got something about him, to make him miss in such an accomplished manner. All right, so at times he was jumping out and running around, but there were times when he was well in range and still making AJ unable to land a clean, solid shot. He deserves a lot of respect for that. And then the shot that actually finished the fight, that broke his jaw quite badly, didn't put him out. That shot he threw with serious intention has put a lot of professional heavyweights to sleep. He didn't go to sleep. He actually finished on his knees, didn't he? Laughing and spitting blood out of his mouth. So, like they say, it's a special type of crazy and a special type of brave to do it. But I actually, hats off to him, because he showed that he's developing some accomplished little skills in there to look after himself. The size difference is always going to fatigue him.
I know everyone will come with the idea that, AJ should just go in there 1 round and smash him to bits, and that should be it was a big ring, right? Perhaps he could have cut the ring off a bit better, but would I be right in saying that regardless of skill level, if you forget about that with the 2 for a second, if someone is on the back foot and on their bike and doing what Jake was doing, it's difficult, no matter who you are, no matter the kind of separation in skill level.
It's a big ring, and you've either got to run at him and look like a novice yourself, or just take your time and understand that he's going to slow down.
Anthony Joshua himself addressed the fight's outcome and how it was perceived publicly In his remarks, Joshua said that Jake Paul deserves criticism for lasting 6 rounds against an elite boxer. At the same time, he stressed that there was little Paul could have done differently given the gap in experience and skill. By recognizing the criticism, Joshua balanced accountability with acknowledgement of Paul's effort, highlighting the complexities of public opinion in high-profile boxing bouts. This thoughtful response demonstrates Joshua's awareness of both his role as a fighter and the expectations of fans and analysts.
Would be more of a mismatch than Jake Paul. You know what I mean? Because at least Jake Paul has taken boxing or has trained with real boxing trainers and real boxes. Whereas Logan Paul, you know, he did that exhibition with Floyd, and Floyd's a little guy. Not saying a little guy can't thump, because Floyd really gave him some 2 pieces with no sides, right? But at the same time, you take his friend, Floyd's friend, Anthony Joshua, and get hit by him and see what happens. The same thing. Probably worse, because I think Logan, you know, he's a little taller than Jake. And because he's a little taller than Jake, he may think he's a little stronger than Jake, which I don't know which one's true or not. I don't think it makes a difference. But because he may feel that way, he may want to go in there and try to bang it out with AJ. And if that happens, it's going to be a lot quicker. See, that 6 rounds it took AJ to finally catch Jake. It took that way because Jake was on that bicycle, moving, being elusive, trying to come in and then come out. He tried to do a very poor man's Alexander Usyk, right? And it didn't work for him. Logan ain't going to do that. Logan's going to come in throwing punches and bunches like he did with Floyd, trying to get him in there and, you know, do all this stuff. And what's going to happen as soon as AJ lines him up, sets his punch, he's going to hit Jake and he's going to break Jake down.
Boxing analyst Wade Plemons was notably candid in his evaluation of Anthony Joshua's performance. In a video reaction, he stated, AJ deserves criticism. Plemons argued that Joshua fell short of expectations despite training at Usyk's camp. He observed that Joshua's footwork seemed flat and lacked the sharpness fans anticipated, indicating that there was still room for improvement even in a winning effort. His straightforward comments sparked conversations among analysts and fans, reinforcing the idea that a victory alone does not always satisfy public expectations for top-tier boxers.
Jake was shooting double legs, too.
Shooting double legs, nice
duck
ones
unders.
with ankle picks, duck unders. But, dude, God, I see so much people talking shit on the fight, which, dude, what the fuck did they expect? Like, Jake was hyping himself up, saying he's going to win. So, dude, that's self-belief. He needed that to go in. He needed that to get himself into the ring. You know what I'm saying? He just needed that.
What do you think about the sticking that tongue out?
Dude, he's a showman. This is a fucking YouTuber that switched to pro boxing.
Yep.
And he's fighting Anthony fucking Joshua.
He's
He made $90 million. $7.5 million per minute. Nate Diaz says, that boy don't work hard enough. This girl in the UFC said, Jake Paul shot more double legs in boxing in a match than I did in my UFC career. Ryan Garcia said, he's a runner, he's a track star. Al Germain said, this is a clown show. Josh Hammond said, dude, it's like, what did they expect? They expect him to go in there and look like a clean fucking Floyd versus Manny Pacquiao. Two of the, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck?
You see the aftermath, like his jaw and everything? Fuck.
Jake Paul's broken jaw. Jake has to get wired shut for 7 days or something like that.
Yeah, like
Tim had
titanium
to do
plates.
7 weeks.
Yeah, Tim says that was the worst thing he's ever gone through.
7 weeks. Tim broke his jaw in Montana. Tried to go to the hospital. Hospital said the surgeon's out of town. So now he has to. So he's fucking goes like a week without even getting surgery. At least Jake was able to probably get it like next day, that same day. But it's like all the people hating on Jake. It's crazy. Connor said Jake is stupid and will be altered permanently from this bout. I look at it. It's inspiring seeing what he does because I know how much like he's putting in work. He's doing legitimate fight camps. He's doing sparring. He's doing rounds. He's eating. He's doing everything. And
Ariel Helwani offered another viewpoint, stating that Anthony Joshua's win over Jake Paul was expected. He argued that Joshua was always favored to win, and that there was no reason he should have lost to Paul. Helwani highlighted the immense power behind Joshua's punches, noting that each strike had potential to seriously injure his opponent. His commentary underscored the predictable nature of the result, while also recognizing the fight's intensity. Helwani's analysis balances respect for Paul's effort with acknowledgement of Joshua's superior skill and experience.
I wasn't sure if there was going to be a silent agreement. I wasn't sure there was going to be a sparring match agreement that will spar for a while. I wasn't sure. I was honest about it. That's why I said it's going to go rounds. I wasn't sure if there was an understanding that, we'll play a little bit and then we'll get a little more and, whatever. So that was part of it. But there was real parts. Say, that's the fixed part. That's the WWE part. That's where the people, and I'm with you. I get it if you want to think that. Here's why I picked rounds, and this is what I think I saw, and I know that in my mind I saw, was the fact is that a lot of people didn't think about. 15 months off. And there was going to be some ruts. There was going to be some hesitation. There was going to be some time. He got knocked out by Dubois freaking 15 months ago. There were going to be ghosts in the attic. I don't care who you're fighting. You get in the ring again. It's going to take a minute to exercise those ghosts. The rust. You want to call it rust, whatever. It's going to take 5-6 rounds to get rid of the rust. But it's going to, the doubt, the self-doubt, the being in the ring for the first time with nothing in between after being knocked out. That was going to be a play. And then the size of the ring, 22 by 20. It's usually 20 is pretty usually around average. And it's 22 by 20. More room to elude, more room to move around, right? I thought maybe go in there with traction.
Another notable point came from boxing analyst Henry, who observed that Jake Paul repeatedly grabbed Joshua's body and tried to take him down. Henry pointed out that this approach is unusual in boxing and that referees should have stepped in. According to him, Paul's repeated attempts to grab Joshua for an advantage raised concerns about rule enforcement and the overall nature of the fight. This viewpoint offers a technical analysis, focusing on boxing standards and adherence to rules rather than solely on the result. Finally, former boxer Paulie Malignaggi shared his take on the fight, describing it humorously as a joke fight, while still commending Jake Paul's bravery. He pointed out that Paul risked his safety and faced real danger stepping into the ring with a world-class athlete like Anthony Joshua. Malignaggi stressed that credit is deserved for accepting such a challenge and enduring injury in the process. His comments underscore the courage and boldness needed to compete at this level, reinforcing the notion that effort and heart in the ring matter just as much as the outcome.